Hello and welcome to another edition of Son of Kaiju Review.
That's right. This is Son of Kaiju Review.
And today we will be talking about a not-so-scary movie for the Halloween season, Queen Crab.
It's a big crab!
Ooh,
spooky.
Not really, though.
No.
I'm just going to get this out of the way right now. This is a low-budget movie.
Very low budget.
It's not a particularly great film, but
No.
it does have its moments.
Yeah.
And it is quite entertaining.
Yes, it is.
But if you've never heard of this movie, it's okay.
Yeah, it's... You're not missing anything if you don't want to watch it. As this is a kaiju channel, we had to talk about it because the crab is quite large.
Yes, it is rather large. Not nearly as big as it is on, I think, the poster I'm using for the YouTube version of this, which depicts it as being able to lift up a vehicle in a single, with only one of its pincers and absolutely towering over soldiers, because that's just not the case.
No, it is not.
It's like as big as a vehicle.
Yes, like, let's say, it's as big as a Hummer.
Yeah, that's a good...
Yeah, you know...
That's a good comparison. But maybe we should start talking about the plot, which starts with a young girl...
Why?
Well, okay. I guess we should just end it here then.
All right.
See
See ya. Click.
No, it starts with a young girl by the name of Melissa Weber, whose father is a scientist and whose mother loves to yell, because that's like all she does during her entire time in the movie.
I don't think it's her biological mother. I think it's an adopted mother. Or, like, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
But she does yell a lot.
Yeah. But anyway, Melissa ends up befriending a small crab creature that, just a regular
Yeah,
crab.
It's a regular crab.
But she ends up feeding it these grapes that are growing on this plant that her dad is growing. Except the thing is, he's doing research on the plant to try and grow bigger foods.
Yeah.
For the purposes of,
Science!
And he, as the story progresses in this opening prologue bit, he's just kind of wondering why the fruits don't seem to be growing, which is because his daughter is picking them to feed to her crab.
That, I believe, is, she named,
Pee-wee.
Pee-wee. It doesn't stay Pee-wee very long after eating all that fruit.
But what does end up happening is that her dad ends up spilling some chemicals, which happens just as her mother decides that his scientific experiments are less important than dealing with a crab in the basement while she's trying to do laundry. Apparently that's more important.
Yeah, he's trying to clean up. I'm thinking it was like some type of acid of some sort.
It's definitely some sort of reactive chemicals because explosion that kills both her parents and destroys her childhood home.
Yes.
Which...
At the funeral, she is standing with her uncle.
Sheriff Ray.
Sheriff Ray. And she goes, "Can we go home? I want to go home now." She wanted to go to her actual home.
She wanted to go get Pee-wee.
Yeah.
She actually really doesn't care too much about the fact that her parents are now dead.
Yeah.
She's kind of cold about that, which even Ray comments on.
Yeah, he's just like, oh.
No, you're a strange girl.
Yep. Well, I have to say her dad probably treated her a little bit better than the mom. The mom just constantly yelled at her, that we've seen.
Yeah, she just was mostly yelling about
something, like, probably wasn't really anything even important. Maybe that's just her role, just to yell.
But they're dead now, and now it's the title, and
blah, 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 blah. And then there's...
We jump ahead a few years.
A couple years later, well, she's an adult now. Okay.
But the sheriff and his deputy, Sonny,
yep.
Deputy Sonny, who is...
A jerk.
A jerk and a moron.
Mm-hmm.
Go to a farm to investigate cattle mutilation.
Yep.
Find a portion of the barn just absolutely caved in.
So, a bulldozer cult.
Because Sonny, being the idiot, initially thinks that it's cult-related because...
Yeah. Yes.
So when they see the hole in the wall that they compared to a bulldozer plowing through it, they're just... Ray is just like, yeah, it's one of those bulldozer cults. Come on. Stop being stupid.
And they see tracks. Ditch digger tracks.
At least
cult.
that's what they initially see.
Yep.
Yeah, that cult with their ditch diggers.
Sonny is a effing moron.
But Ray, being smart as he is, actually gets a plaster cast made of one of the tracks, and
they actually search the...
They do follow the tracks and wind up getting to the border of the property of Melissa's new home, wherever that is, and she has a shotgun.
And we want a warrant, so we'll go get a warrant, blah, 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 this. Sonny's like, no, I'm an officer of the law.
I'm an officer of the law. I'll do what I want.
And
so she shoots him in the butt.
he gets some buckshot to the asshole.
And the sheriff's just like, yep, that happened.
Yep.
Come on, Sonny, let's get out of here.
No, I'm going to arrest him.
Come on, Sonny, let's get out of here. You're only letting her off because she's your niece or whatever. It's like,
just like,
let it go.
Yeah, just like, she said she was going to shoot, and they didn't
It is her private property.
Yep.
She requested to see a warrant, and the sheriff was like, okay, we're going to go get a warrant.
Yep.
And Sonny was like, we don't need no warrants. Like, yes, you legally do.
Yes. If you want to search, officers of the law can't just go on people's property and do what they do. They need to have a warrant.
I mean, if the owner consents, then they totally can. Yes. But otherwise, they would need a warrant.
Sonny is it? I'm sorry. I can't hold a swear back.
Go for it.
He is a fucking moron.
Yeah. As we soon find out later that night when he saunters into a bar and starts hitting on a lady who has just come into town.
And he kind of gets a little too frisky. And she elbows him in the nose.
She flees the bar.
Yes.
He pursues her, so she maces him.
Well, he's still using that officer of the law type thing, because, okay.
Clearly, he's the kind of guy who would wind up being a corrupt cop.
Yes.
If not for his stupidity.
Okay. He's one of those guys, officers out there. Okay, not actual cops. I'm just saying. Though he's one of those guys that get hard-ons because they have a badge.
Yeah.
And, like earlier, he's like, no, I don't need no goddamn warrant,
But anyway, Ray sends the plaster cast to wildlife something.
Yeah.
Department of Wildlife or something.
Mm-hmm.
To have them look into to try and figure out just what the heck it is.
Yeah.
The person that kicks Sonny's ass is Jennifer Kane, who, as she quickly reveals, is a movie star who used to live in town and was actually came back to town to visit her friend Melissa because they knew each other in high school.
She goes to Melissa's house. Well, before she even goes to the bar, she goes to Melissa's childhood home, seeing there's a huge hole in the roof. Then she goes into the bar and
we're introduced to Mo, the bartender.
Mo, the bartender.
I don't even know how we didn't make the connection between his name being Mo and him being a bartender. We knew
Welcome
he was a
to Mo's Tavern.
Yeah. Like we knew he was a bartender. We knew his name was Mo, and it just didn't click.
No, it did not click. It's just like.
Probably because he doesn't come across as a Mo.
No, he seems more fancier than Mo.
I mean, he even offers Jennifer like some fancy wine.
Yep, just like, we got like this cabaret or something.
Cabernet, I think.
Yeah, just something high class level of wine.
Yeah.
So then, Sonny gets a little too fresh with her, and she elbows him. Like we said, he gets maced in the face. Now she witnesses Melissa dancing nude
in the forest.
Yep, and she just goes back up to the driveway or something or other. And then Melissa comes up and doesn't recognize her at all because
she thinks it's a trespass. But Jen's like, "Don't you remember me? It's me, Jen, from high school."
Jen?
And Jen such and such from high school.
Oh, Jen.
They get to talking. Jen talks about how she has roles in movies and how she's just kind of in the area between shoots. So she decided to stop by for a visit.
Mm-hmm. You moved away. They get into a small little argument.
Doesn't last very long.
No, that's why I said it's a small little argument. It's just like nothing. Like, fine, don't like. Then they make fun of Sonny because I elbowed him in the nose and maced him. Oh really? I shot him in the ass. Then, their friendship gets a little more kindled. After that, after they both harmed the sheriff idiot.
The next day, the sheriff is visited by a member of the Department of Wildlife, Stuart McKendrick, who has come to investigate because, well, he just kind of lays his cards on the table. Yeah. He thinks it's a giant crab.
Yeah. Crab.
Trying to figure out, is this actually the tracks of a giant crab? Yes.
Yes, it is actually. And
okay, it's got kids.
Ray takes him to the tracks, and they go down. And
Stuart notices other tracks and suspects there's other crabs.
Mm-hmm. Then he runs into another shotgun wielding.
Well, that's. Stuart.
No, that's later.
Yeah, Stuart ends up kind of parting ways with Ray.
Yeah.
Because he wants to keep investigating, and Ray.
He's like, I can't wait for you.
Yeah, it's like he's fine. So he ends up coming across these egg sacs that have hatched.
He's like babies,
as well as a huge exoskeleton just laying in the ruins. Just laying in the ruins of a building.
Like, wow. He measures it and all that.
He's like, oh, shit.
This stuff is big. And then, after that, he runs into that,
Sally Ray Rooney.
Sally Ray. Her speech is very unelegant as the time, because she has a huge cigar in her mouth.
She's just got a stogie in the side of her mouth and a shotgun in her hands.
I'm going to give you a count of 3. 1, 2.
Okay.
Oh, he starts running off. 3. Just doesn't shoot.
No, she actually counts to 5.
5?
He flees at around 3. So after he gets a bit away, she's like 4, 5.
Boom! Just gave her a reason to shoot the shotgun. And while
Stuart makes it back to his motel room,
and then he sends a picture message.
Some pictures to a contact of his, and be like, yeah, no, these photos are legit.
Yeah, then I believe he sent them to Ray.
Well, I think he was gonna go to talk to Ray about it.
Yeah. Then he goes, you know what? I'm just gonna go get a drink, and he meets up with Jenny.
Well, there is a scene just before that where another bar patron by the name of Daisy shows up.
Oh, yes.
At around the time that this guy who's like, I think 23?
23, max 23, 25, around that area.
And the bartender refuses to give him a drink.
Because he doesn't have an identification card. The bartender, Mo, is doing his job.
And this character's name is Sketch.
Sketch.
Apparently, I'm assuming that because it's like the only other character who has a name in this movie that we haven't mentioned before yet. Yep. So,
yeah. So,
Sketch asks this other bar patron that comes in, Daisy, who everybody kind of pokes fun at because they imply that she's a hooker.
she might not be a hooker. She might be a hooker, but she might not be a hooker. She might just like to go on dates with fellas, and if things...
But everybody in the bar gives her a hard time of it.
Yeah, so...
She orders a martini, and...
Mo kind of fucks it up.
Mo makes her a martini, and it sucks.
Yep.
And she openly wonders when he's going to actually learn how to make a martini. To which he responds that she's literally the only person who actually orders them. So probably
I believe he says next time order like a Jack and Coke or something simple where you can just add two things.
Which
together.
is kind of weird considering that he had a fine wine when Jennifer was there, but he doesn't know how to make a martini for one of his regulars. It's like...
He never said he was a good bartender.
Daisy decides to get out of there, and Mo offers to give her a ride.
Then
we learn that he's a creep, and oh god, we actually liked this character until this point.
Yep. So
he tries to force himself on her, and she flees. They encounter the baby crabs, who just absolutely swarm Mo.
Yep. So apparently, Queen Crab is just like Friday the 13th. You try to have sex, you die.
Except Daisy makes it.
We don't know if she had sex.
It's implied. I mean, not to make assumptions, but it is implied.
Yes.
I mean, they wouldn't be making such crass comments at the bar about it if she didn't have a history of it.
Yeah, she might be. I don't want to.
I mean,
she could be the bicycle.
But anyway, now while that's going on, Melissa and Jennifer arrive at the bar, and Stuart actually arrives there first, and
he asked for a.
He asked for a specific type of drink, and
it was scotch.
He asked for a scotch. He didn't get a scotch.
He got tequila.
And he questioned the bartender what kind of bartender he is, and the bartender's like,
I'm not a bartender. I'm a mechanic down the road."
Because Mo went off with Daisy.
Yep. He's like, and he hasn't come back yet. It's been a while.
So then Jen and Melissa show up, and they kind of get to talking with Stuart. And then Sonny shows up.
Yeah, Sonny shows up and just like, give me a beer. Then all of a sudden looks, hey, it's you! And you! Oh, I'm going to arrest both of you right now.
So then Stuart actually tries to come to their defense.
Yes.
And gets clocked for it.
Well.
And then Melissa jumps on Sonny's back and just starts...
Yep, and then Sonny just slaps Melissa. And then Jen goes, hey, asshole, you and me outside. I don't fight girls. You just smacked Melissa, and she's a girl. So they go outside.
I'll make an exception for you. And so Jen kicks his ass again.
like his cred went away.
Like he hadn't.
He didn't have cred at all.
Like nobody in the bar thought that he was going to actually have a chance in the fight.
Just like swings. Like the only technical thing, he gets him in a bear hug and puts her up against her car. And then
she chops him in the neck with both hands.
Just like, you're up. Then like some type of roundhouse kick later and down.
And as she puts it, she makes action movies. She makes action movies.
And she has great stunt double to teach her things.
Yeah. So she knows how to handle herself in a fight.
Oh yeah.
Which makes us wonder, how did Sonny become a deputy?
It's a small town. Ray needed help, and it was his last.
But anyway, back with Daisy. Mo is now dead and being devoured by crabs.
Then Sketch drives up
and gives her a ride. He decides to just run over some of these crabs.
Yes.
Just for fun. Like Daisy tells him to just
go
floor it and leave. He decides to turn around and run over some of the crabs. Mm-hmm. At which point Pee-wee, now known as Goliath, decides to rear her head.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Craziness.
And it's at about this point, Sketch and Daisy arrive back at the bar just after Sonny has gotten his ass kicked to inform everybody about what's happened. With
is dead. Mo is dead. Then Sonny's like, trying to be an actual cop. Who's like, wait, now who is dead?
Somehow Sheriff Ray shows back up.
Mm-hmm.
They explain the situation. They go investigate.
Okay, they see the... Okay.
Don't worry about that.
They actually see Goliath now, and Ray tries to get a hold of his army friend, but then he has...
Well, that's a little later.
Yeah, but
First, now that they know that this giant crab has some connection, has killed and has some connection to Melissa's property, they have no choice but to go in to investigate. Even detain Melissa, who is absolutely belligerent about it.
Yeah.
So while Ray and Stewart go to look for whatever it is, I'm assuming it's more. Stewart goes to find more of the eggs, encounters Sketch, and Sally Ray.
Yep, Sally Ray, and
they find the eggs, and Sally Ray just starts shooting at them.
And Goliath.
Goliath grabs Sally while she's trying to reload her shotgun.
Snips her arm off.
She tries to retreat into her house, but Goliath tears that down, and
she tries to shoot him, but it's got one arm. People can shoot a shotgun with one arm,
but she still hasn't reloaded it.
Exactly. So. And she's having issues. Well, and it looked like a double barrel shotgun, so it opens this way downward and put the two bullets in, then pops back up.
Right.
But with one arm, that's a little difficult to do.
Yep. I do feel I want to comment on the stop motion used to represent Goliath for a good chunk of this movie. Mm-hmm. Not bad.
No, it's not. It's not bad at all.
I mean, it's clearly where the budget for this movie went because of how low budget this movie looks. But it is definitely the star attraction of this film. Mm-hmm. The stop motion effects.
Yes. So then, I believe Ray calls a town patron of some sort. Okay.
Actually, no. I think it's at this point that Stewart tells Ray about what's going on, and then they detain Melissa. Because I'm pretty sure Goliath was acting in response to the destroyed eggs.
Yeah.
So they detain Melissa. Mm-hmm. Ray has Sonny take Melissa back to the station, while he and Stewart go to search out the area and try and find it. Except Goliath finds Sonny and Melissa and rescues Melissa.
And, he kills Sonny.
Good.
Sonny. Yep, kills Sonny. Rips him in half. Then, she snips Melissa's handcuffs, and then Goliath decides to just destroy the Jeep that Sonny owns. Or owned. Yeah. With him being dead, he's no longer the owner. And Melissa's trying to calm her down, I believe. And then she rides. Looks like she's meditating on the back of a giant crab.
So, Ray rounds up a posse, including a guy with a goddamn tank.
I was not in this film. No.
No, a different type of tank. No, seriously, the guy rocks up with a tank.
I think that's what he was like, where the hell did you get that?
To go crab hunting.
Yep. So we have several country folk.
Once they manage to get Goliath into their sights, they start shooting at it on Ray's orders, and drive it back into the lake or whatever.
Yes.
It's at this point that Ray decides to try and call in a contact in the military to try and help deal with it, because even with their heavy artillery, all they've really been able to do is push it back into the lake. But Melissa's like, well, you can't kill it. It's my best friend. I've known that thing from. It's never tried to harm anybody. And Ray is like, no, it's killed. We got to deal with it. Mm-hmm. But Stewart is actually a lot more.
He's
a lot more what is the word? He's a lot more sympathetic to the situation.
Yes.
Because
he actually wants to study it.
He does want to study it, but he also does realize that the only reason that Goliath was acting as violently towards people as it was
because his babies
were being harmed and killed.
Yes.
And really the only reason it even killed any of the cattle was to feed its young, newly hatched young. So he's a lot more sympathetic. So they come up with a plan to rig the exoskeleton he had found earlier in the lake.
So
then we get the big showdown. We got guns. They drive. Goliath shows back up. They drive it back into the lake, and then jets come in and bomb the lake.
Yep,
and with the exoskeleton finally rising to the surface, they believe, and being obliterated, they believe that Goliath is killed.
Yep.
But Stuart, Jen, and Melissa know the truth, and well, Melissa's able to live with her friend for the remainder of their days, and they all lived happily ever after.
That's what the end of the thing.
It literally does say, and they all lived happily ever after. That was Queen Crab. A pretty bare bones plot, but
yeah.
I'd be lying if I said it wasn't entertaining.
Oh, it was entertaining enough to get through.
I mean, it's got some pretty horrific depictions of men, but they're not completely inaccurate.
No. Yeah. There's a dumb one, a bartender that we thought was going to be cool. Then
Ray was cool.
Yeah, Ray was cool. I liked when Ray would, okay. I guess Sonny never... how you say...
Oh.
Okay, so, Ray was on the phone.
Yeah. Ray is on the phone with the Department of Wildlife, and Sonny is just absolutely badgering him about if the call is related to the tracks.
Yeah.
And he's just like...
What is it?
At one point, Ray has to go to Sonny and tell him, "Shut the hell up! I'm on the phone."
Yes.
No, I didn't. I wasn't saying that to you. Sonny, shut the hell up. And then Sonny gives Ray a meal, except it's not what Ray had ordered. So Ray takes Sonny's meal and gives him the meal that he didn't ask for.
Then Sonny tries to eat it. This sucks. Eat it.
That'll teach you to actually get me what I asked for next time.
Yeah. Something about his color.
I mean, at the very least, Ray is incredibly assertive, and the fact that he is able to put up with Sonny's stupidity and moronicness and assholishness is a real testament to Ray.
Yeah. It's very, very... Oh... crazy.
But again, it's a very entertaining movie, so...
Yes. Very entertaining. Plot's a little bit everywhere, but if you can follow it decent enough.
Yeah, it's not like a scattered brained plot.
No.
And the plot is rather basic, but it's done well enough for what is clearly an indie project.
Yes.
Like, it is low budget. The best special effects are the stop motion crab.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Which they don't look absolutely fantastic. I mean, you can still tell that it's a stop motion crab, but it's still pretty good.
Yeah.
It's no Ray Harryhausen, but
no. But a lot of people can't do that, so
yeah.
Yeah. So that was Queen Crab, you guys.
Not sure why we picked this for Halloween, but okay.
We'll try next October. We'll figure something out, possibly a little bit more scary.
Hopefully.
Yep.
And until next time, I'm Proto Met.
I'm Tank.
See ya.
Bye.